Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. I'm making this short video to pick up on something that my good friend Lee Hazard talked about in a recent video where he was analysing the burpee form of some different practitioners, including myself. Lee raised some really helpful constructive criticisms, things that I can think about as I pursue the never-ending quest for the perfect burpee. I can definitely think about adding another inch or so to the depth of the push-up that I'm performing. I can think a little bit more about elbow positioning. There are certain elements to think through. I can think about pausing maybe for a split second more at the beginning of the third count. All excellent constructive criticism and feedback, and I'm very grateful to you, Lee, for providing me with that. But something that Lee singled out for praise in my form was my ankle flexibility. Lee commented that I'm able to keep my heels on the ground pretty much until I jump out into my push. And then when I jump back out of the push, I'm able to land nice and tucked in a way that allows me to squat up out of the burpee properly and relieves the pressure on my lumbar spine. I've never had any lower back issues relating to burpees, and I know that a lot of you have. And I'd never really thought about it and put two and two together and thought that the reason that I don't have issues with my lower back is that I'm able to land in a position kind of like the one I'm sitting in right now when I'm coming out of my burpee. And so Lee said he's envious of my ankle mobility, and with that in mind, and especially having drawn that connection between ankle mobility and your ability to keep your back safe when you're jumping out of the burpee, I thought I would put this video out explaining to people why I'm not surprised that I excel in this part of the burpee, and explaining to you how I think that you can do the same. And the reason that I excel in that part of the burpee is the way I'm sitting right now. Around about the time that my daughter was born, this was one of the first videos that I put out on the channel. I lived in San Diego, and where I lived in the student community I was living in, there were lots of Asian families. And I noticed that all of the mothers in these Asian families would sit in this unbelievably deep squat with their feet flat on the ground when they were hanging out with their children. And they would stay in that position for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. I tried to sit in that position myself. I was interested, and I couldn't even get into the position. I set myself the challenge of trying to emulate what they were doing, and when I was hanging out with my daughter, just as a way of trying to improve, physical flexibility and trying to see the world from my daughter's point of view, I would sit down and see if I could build up to a total of 5 minutes sitting in a deep squat over the course of a day. Over a few months, I was able to build up into doing 5 minutes uninterrupted, and then eventually into 10. And so I would make it the case that pretty much every day, especially in the early years of my daughter's life, I would sit in this deep squat position for about 30 minutes over the course of any given day. I would also make a point after my daughter was going to bed, if there was nothing else going on in the house, my wife would come in and she would encounter the strange sight of her husband crouching, squatting like this. And now I'm in a position where I could hold this position, I think, for an hour. So that's a practice that, for whatever reason, just because it feels really good, I've built over the years. Pretty much every day you'll find me sitting in a deep squat. Sometimes I'll sit down here for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll read a book when I'm down here. I'll do a bit of admin when I'm down here. I like to sit and really extend forward my shoulders and then reach out and try and really open up at the groin. And I just find that sitting here is something that I kind of, from the inside, know to be a good thing, that I feel as being beneficial. And so, given that, it's no surprise to me that Lee was impressed by the fact that when I jump into and out of the burpee, I'm able to land in this position with my heels flat on the ground. I sit in this position every single day. And so if you want to work on your burpee form and work on making sure that you're coming out of the burpee in a way that is safe for your lumbar spine, then I recommend that you develop a protocol of sitting in the deep squat every day. Now, if you can't get here at the beginning, okay, a really easy fix is to take a cushion, okay, and put your heels on the cushion. Super easy to sit like this. You'll find a way of setting into it, and then just very gradually you can make the thing that you're sitting on smaller and smaller until finally you're not sitting on anything at all. Build that into your daily practice along with your 10 pull-ups. It's an excellent way of supplementing and protecting your burpee training practice. So that's something that I thought I would recommend to all of you on the back of Lee's very helpful video. Please check out Lee's video. It's in the description below. And if you want to build superior ankle mobility, start a deep squat practice of your own. Okay, my friends, that's all from me. I'll see you again soon.